Continuing my reviews of the movies of 2019, this is Black and Blue. It's directed by Deon Taylor. The screenplay is written by Peter Dowling, and the cast in the lead role: Naomi Harris plays Alicia, Tyrese Gibson plays Mouse, Frank Grillo plays Terry Malone, Mike Coulter plays Darius, Reed Scott is Kevin, Bo Knapp plays Smitty, Nelson Bonilla plays Officer Doyle, Nafessa Williams plays Missy, and James Moses Black plays Officer Brown. And finally, Carsten Taylor plays Jamel. These are mainly police officers. So to my review of Black and Blue then. It's a tough, gritty cop drama set in New Orleans in the present day, and its central theme: racism, corruption in the police force, and organised crime in the narcotics business. We meet a rookie, Alicia West, first when she's out jogging in a park area. She's pulled aside by a patrol car. There's two white police officers, heavyweights. They rough her up a bit to enrich their macho, racist egos. And when one sees her badge, the atmosphere turns into a contemptuous stare as the pair slide back to their car, somewhat exasperated that they couldn't make an arrest. Alicia continues to the Lafayette Cemetery, where we see her touchingly take care for her mother's gravestone, as she clearly tries to get some inspiration from memories. This sets the mood for the first half of the movie. In her face, the sexism, racism, misogynistic reaction of the male colleagues at the station, and a lasting bitterness towards Alicia is seen very quickly as the new recruit. Her first partner does show some interest in her, and we learn that Alicia originated in New Orleans but escaped the hardship, crime and poverty to become a soldier serving in Afghanistan. That's now finished, and so she joined the police force. This gives her a modicum of respect and proves vital later, as she has to survive whilst being hunted by fellow cops. She witnesses the hatred of the local community towards cops in general, and particularly her being black and blue. It seems to ratchet up the hatred an extra notch. Knowing that she's an African American, her white colleagues generally look down on her, a woman perceived as weak and naive, and black colleagues resent her genuine desire to uphold the law and to question police methods, the brutality and the intimidating fear that they give to the downtrodden community. As the patrol car sweeps through the area, we get a sense of the deprivation, the ugliness, the buildings in disrepair, empty like coffins of hopelessness. Alicia tries to engage with a young boy near a store, but this is repelled with disdain, hatred and contempt by local African American men and women, who view her as a traitor to her colour. Her attempt to try and re-engage with an old high school friend, who's the mother of the child, provokes more negativity. Missy is her name, and she's part of the gang culture now and looks down on any who have joined the blue. You can cut the atmosphere with a knife, and this is a vital ingredient in a tremendously powerful early phase of this movie. Although this movie, of course, is a dramatic reconstruction of life in large urban cities in the US, it suggests that this is as real as it gets, a war zone really, with cops, bad cops, gangs and decent law-abiding people trying to live together in a mix that reflects America's society's big divide. The store worker is another of Alicia's friends from the past. His name is Mouse, and yes, he is one of those law-abiding citizens, but he's frail. His priority is to keep his head down. Mouse says no charge to cops. When Alicia gives him something in the store, Alicia's not happy with this. She puts some money in a donation box, and Mouse looks at her in disbelief. All officers are expected to wear a body cam, and Alicia has hers on, And when she returns to the precinct at the end of her shift, she ends up volunteering for a second shift. Her partner was allocated the shift, but he's got an important engagement with his wife. And so she ends up volunteering, and she's placed with a black colleague this time. His demeanour is even more hostile and more critical. He resents her rookie status. How he views the audacity of her having been placed with him. Brown's his name, and he has his own agenda. He isn't happy. Her with a body cam, and he tells her straight, don't point that thing at me. Clearly the cops are into corruption in a big way and want to continue to be nameless, faceless beings when carrying out their deals with the gangs in the neighbourhood. Shortly after, on the streets, we witness a brutal physical arrest by Brown as he slams a black guy on the dashboard. Alicia, gobsmacked, tries to calm the crowd down as the group watch Brown's excessive force. He pulls a weapon from the man and justifies his tactics in the car, his heavy-handedness. The guy had a weapon and he's probably going to use it on me, was his report. Brown then gets a call on his private phone. Strange. They go to a derelict, empty building. Alicia's slightly suspicious. Why should he be responding to anything on his private phone? Anyway, empty buildings, 2 or 3 stories in height, are in front of them, and Brown tells her to stay in the car. Alicia's disturbed by a suspicious vehicle, but then she hears loud noises from the building. From a distance she spots Brown with 2 narcotic cops and a black youth. Alicia has already switched on her body cam, and then an unlawful killing takes place. It's an assassination. Next, she's the target. She's spotted. The police want her webcam desperately, and she runs for her life. A body vest, a lifesaver. The movie shifts into full gear, hide and seek, a wild animal being hunted by a group. Her skills developed in Afghanistan come to the fore. Locals and cops she has to evade. It reminded me a little bit of Training Day, the Denzel Washington film, another awesome movie about police corruption. The youth was a nephew of the chief drug pin in the area. Bad news for the narcotics police officer, Malone. Hide and seek cop movie from here on, however. Images of shootout, bit messy. Mousy comes good, a predictable finale, but a great performance by Naomi Harris in this lead role. An absorbing beginning sequence drifts away, I'm afraid, into a standard cop movie. But nevertheless, I would suggest you give it a watch. It's called Black and Blue, and some of the street scenes are really impressive.